I was reading the comments under a video the other day, and it wasn't just one or two people saying it. It was a flood of same, me too, I'm crying while watching this, and dude, I'm literally tearing up watching this video cause it describes me so well. And mixed into all of that were the words that sting the most. Weak when I cry, crybaby, too sensitive, and the one that can shut you down instantly in a disagreement, manipulative. So before anything else, let's disarm the biggest traps right up front. Tears aren't proof you're weak, and tears aren't proof of intent. They're a body response people love to interpret, which is why you can be telling the truth and still get judged like you're running a play. And I'm not here to give you a just stop crying lecture, because half the comments were basically saying, if I could, I would. People wrote, I cry when I'm overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, or angry, and my anxiety takes over and I cry. And you can hear how tired they are of fighting their own face in real time. I'm also not here to pretend crying has one meaning, because the same comment section had people saying, I cry also for the good stuff, and others saying, I have the opposite problem, I can't cry even if it is important. What you're going to get instead is a clear way to sort what's happening so you stop turning it into a character judgment. Not a label. Not a life sentence. Just a clean separation between what your body does and what other people decide it means. Because in real life, the pain usually isn't the tear itself. The pain is what happens next. It's the way the room changes. It's the way your credibility feels like it evaporates. One person said, they don't take me serious. Another described it like a physical ambush. I immediately feel something with my throat and my voice cracking. And then the emotion doesn't just show up, it hijacks the conversation, which is how you end up furious at yourself, thinking, why can't I just talk like a normal person? That's why so many people weren't asking for a motivational quote. They were asking to be taken seriously while their body is doing something they didn't ask for. So what happens is, there are two stories running at once. One is your internal story. You're overwhelmed, you're stressed, you're angry, you care, you're trying. The other is the story other people project onto your tears. Weakness, drama, manipulation, negativity. And those projected stories are exactly why so many comments sound like they're bracing for impact. You can hear it when someone says, I've had people call it manipulative. That's not a casual complaint. That's the kind of accusation that makes you feel trapped either way. If you cry, you're judged. If you don't cry, you're judged for being cold. And if you're a guy, the pressure can be even tighter, because you also saw, especially because we're men, we have this saying that men don't cry. That's not just a saying. That's a social rule that tells you your dignity is on the line. Now zoom in on the moment it hits, because that's where the comments get painfully specific. A lot of people aren't describing sadness first. They're describing pressure. They're describing escalation. I cry when I'm overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, or angry. That line shows you the real trigger isn't always heartbreak, it's overload. In real life, it looks like standing in the kitchen trying to explain yourself, feeling your chest get tight, your thoughts speeding up, and then your eyes betray you. You're not trying to make a point with tears. You're trying to keep up with what's happening inside you. Which is why telling someone calm down or stop crying can land like a slap. It ignores the timing. Your body goes first. Your words come second. And when you've lived that enough times, you start to fear situations that shouldn't be terrifying, like asking for something you need, or disagreeing politely, or bringing up a serious topic. And that's how you end up in the comment that hurts the most to read, the constant embarrassment of not being to even argue without crying. Not being able to argue without crying doesn't mean you don't have a point. It means your point is fighting through noise. And once tears show up, people start playing courtroom with your face instead of listening to your words. Some viewers even said their mind blanks, my brain fumbles. That's why it can feel like you lose. Even if you were right, even if you were calm at the start. You're not losing because you're wrong. You're losing because the conversation shifts from your message to your reaction, and not everyone is fair about that shift. Here's the catch, a lot of the shame isn't coming from inside you. It's coming from scripts you were handed. You can see the family version of it in the comments where someone said, my parents say I'm weak when I cry, and that it brings negativity. If you grew up with that, crying doesn't feel like relief. It feels like danger. It feels like you're about to be mocked, punished, dismissed, or told you're making things harder for everyone. And then you see the opposite family script in the same place. Never be ashamed to cry, son. That contrast matters because it explains why two people can have the same tears and walk away with totally different self-respect. One was taught tears equal disgrace. The other was taught tears can exist alongside strength. That's why the words crybaby and too sensitive can dig so deep. They aren't just insults. They're identity tags people learn to wear like a scarlet letter. And the manipulative accusation is its own special kind of damage because it attacks your motive. If someone calls your tears manipulative, they're skipping your lived reality and jumping straight to a conclusion about your character. That's why it's so important to say it plainly. Tears aren't proof of intent. You can cry and still be honest. You can cry and still be trying to stay respectful. You can cry and still want the conversation to be rational. The presence of tears doesn't tell anyone what you're trying to do. In real life, it looks like you trying to explain one simple thing and the other person going, "Oh, here we go," as if your eyes are a strategy. And then you're forced to defend yourself on two fronts, your point and your legitimacy. No wonder people shut down. Now, not everyone in that comment section was talking about conflict. Some people were talking about tenderness. They wrote, "I cry also for the good stuff, and when I see love connection people helping animals, I tear up." That's a different scene entirely. It's not an argument. It's not a serious talk. It's you watching someone do something kind, or seeing connection, or seeing an animal be helped, and your body reacts before you can translate it into words. And the shame there is quieter, but it's still real. It shows up as, "Why am I like this? Why is this hitting me so hard? Why can't I just watch like everyone else?" But in that comment section, it wasn't rare. It was common enough that it deserves the same respect as stress tears and conflict tears. Because the through line isn't weakness. The through line is sensitivity to what matters, whether what matters is pressure, fairness, connection, or being seen. And then there's the group that doesn't fit the cry easily label at all, but showed up anyway because the topic touched them. As for me, I have the opposite problem. I can't cry even if it is important, and I can't cry even if I try hard to. Some people even said it shows up around loss. And that matters here, because it proves this isn't a contest about who feels more. Tears are just one-way feelings surface. If you can't cry, it doesn't mean you don't care. It means your body doesn't release that way, at least not on demand, and that can feel just as isolating. In real life, it looks like you standing at a funeral or getting bad news and waiting for the tears that won't come, then leaving with the weight still building up in me. The takeaway isn't that one is better. The takeaway is that people need to stop treating tears like a moral scoreboard. The last thing I want to pull from those comments is the dignity language, because it's the antidote to almost every insult in that thread. One man wrote, "I still cry today, yet I am a strong man." I am man. That's not someone asking permission. That's someone reclaiming it. And it matters because the world doesn't always make room for that, especially when the old rule is still floating around: men don't cry. The point isn't to argue with anyone's culture or upbringing. The point is to stop letting a rule decide your worth in the exact moment you're most human. In real life, dignity looks like this. Even if your throat tightens, even if your voice cracking shows up, even if you tear up mid-sentence, you don't have to translate that into "I'm weak," "I'm a crybaby," or "I'm manipulating." You can let it be what it is, your body reacting, without handing someone a story that shrinks you. And if you've been living with this, you already know the hardest part isn't the tears. It's the social penalty. It's being laughed at. It's being told, "It's nothing, don't cry or you'll be teased for life," and realizing that sentence trained you to disappear. It's trying to talk to your parents or someone you care about and feeling the shift when they decide you're not serious. It's watching your own emotions arrive ahead of your words and then feeling embarrassed for having a body. Which is why the most important thing you can take from that comment section is also the simplest. A label is not a verdict, and a tear is not a motive. So I want to hear it in the most concrete way, because the comments under that other video made one thing obvious. This shows up differently for different people, and the cost is real. What's the trait? When does it show up? And what does it cost you?